Good evening and welcome to Mass Insight's 2021 Partners in Excellence event. I'm Sue Lusi, President and CEO of Mass Insight. This year, because of our virtual environment, we are holding Partners in Excellence over 4 evenings. This is the second, focusing on science. It has been my privilege to open these events for the past 6 years, and it is always my favorite. Extraordinary learning results from extraordinary teachers, and we are honoring 6 of them this evening. Thank you to our amazing winners for helping their students succeed this year under extremely challenging circumstances. We look forward to hearing from each of you in just a few minutes. Thank you to our leadership sponsors, K&L Gates and State Street Corporation, and a very special thank you to our Managing Director of the Advanced Placement STEM and English program, Sally Guadagno, as well as to all those who made this event possible. And now, a few words from our board chair, Dick Taggart.
Thank you, Sue. On behalf of my colleagues on the Mass Insight Board of Directors, I want to welcome you to our virtual Partners in Excellence Award presentation. I am sorry that we can't be together in person again this year. Our annual Partners in Excellence Award program is always a very special night of celebration for teachers, friends, and supporters of Mass Insight. What makes Partners in Excellence so special? It is one of the few events around that recognizes and celebrates excellence in advanced placement teaching. The Mass Insight Board is proud to be able to support tonight's program. The work of the AP Science teachers we are honoring tonight culminates in measurably better, more equitable outcomes for students. More students, especially students of color and low-income students, are succeeding in high school and college because of the extraordinary work you and your colleagues do every day. You've had to respond to unprecedented conditions since March 2020 when the world was brought to a sudden halt because of COVID-19. Within a week, the global health crisis transformed how we teach students, how we support students, and how we prepare them for AP exams in college. I want to thank you for helping your students overcome the challenges and barriers brought on by the sudden and unexpected shift to virtual learning at home. You provided the stability, support, and encouragement to help them overcome their fears and worries about succeeding in challenging AP courses. As a result, you are helping to close the equity gap in AP education. It is now my pleasure to introduce Sally Guadagno, Managing Director of Advanced Placement Academics for our Partners in Excellence Awards presentation.
Thank you, Dick. It's now my pleasure to introduce the 2021 Partners in Excellence Science Award recipients for this year. We have Colleen Gleavy, AP Chem at Middleborough High School. Jennie Portney, AP Environmental Science, Joseph P. Keefe Technical High School. Athena Kaouris-Vangos, AP Biology, Leicester High School. Grace Noble, AP Biology, Chelsea High School. James Lewis, AP Biology, TechBoston Academy, and James Gorman, AP Physics, Nipmuc Regional High School. On behalf of Mass Insight, I want to congratulate you on your success. The goal, as you all know, of Mass Insight's AP STEM and English program is to increase participation and performance in advanced placement courses to prepare students for college and career success in English and STEM fields. Each year, we award exemplary teachers who help us to meet these goals in their classrooms as partners in excellence. We're delighted to honor your professionalism, perseverance, and commitment to your students each year, but especially this year, when all of us were forced to respond to the challenges posed by the pandemic in new and creative ways. Congratulations again on your achievements. Now, we'd like to turn it over and hear from our winners. What inspires you, and how have you brought that into your classroom? And if you could speak to your students, past, present, and future, what hopes do you have for them?
Thank you. This is a great honor. I really appreciate everything that Mass Insight has done for me, my classroom, and my school. And being in science, I'm thinking about this year, all the great advances in science. So I would say that advances in science are my inspiration. At a personal level, there's some scientists that I consider my heroes. They are Dr. Kelling, Dr. Cleary, Dr. Potke, Dr. Coswell, and Dr. Gupta. And I've gotten to know about these people just recently. They have really affected my life. I know that these scientists are probably unfamiliar to many, but they have personally inspired me. Dr. Gelling is the person who innovated laparoscopy, which was implemented by Dr. Cleary and Dr. Potke when my son's appendix burst. And due to his appendix bursting, all these toxins were released in his digestive system. So laparoscopy was what was used. Dr. Caswell is located in Worcester here at St. Bees. He uses the Da Vinci robot to remove cancerous cells. He also is a doctor that has influenced my life personally. My mother has bladder cancer, and he is using these new methods to help her out and get rid of the cancerous cells. And of course, coronavirus vaccine. I've been reading a lot about Dr. Gupta, one of the many scientists behind developing the COVID vaccine. And the list can go on and on and on and on. So how do I want to bring this into my classroom? I would be so very proud if some of my students can be added to that list as innovators, as risk takers. I would like to tell my students not to be afraid. There's often a lot of failure, but the successes are what we take with us, and we appreciate them more with the failures. I have experience. I've been teaching for 25 years. I've had some fabulous students who I'm really counting on taking care of me when I enter my elderly stage of life, which is far, far down the road from here. Let's say 40, 50 years to go, because I'm very youthful. I don't think that I'm going to need their help in many years to come. And I would like to end by saying that I have been blessed with being surrounded by inquisitive minds. These students keep in touch with me. Many of them come back and speak to my present students to help them understand the importance of high school, regardless of where they're heading. I'm very impressed with their technology skills and their skills of being great advocates for themselves. And I hope that they continue to be advocates for themselves and to not be afraid. I'm finding that kindness and hard work is what's taken me through life and it's gotten me to where I am. And really what makes my world go round is just that kindness and hard work. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I also want to say thank you to Mass Insight for all the support that you've given to me and Keefe Tech over the years. We've found a lot of success so far with our AP students, and it's been a really great opportunity to bring the advanced placement program into the vocational setting. So I think I'm most inspired by my students, and particularly working at a vocational high school. My students have so much individuality that they bring into my course. And one of the things I really like about teaching AP Environmental Science is it's less of a hard science focus than some of the other courses, and really allows students' strengths to shine. So we talk about environmental policy and societal effects and history and the technology piece. So there's really a lot for every student, and it's really interesting teaching it year after year to figure out what's gonna be the focus of my class's interests, to see where their strengths shine and what they take from the class. I've had a few students every year who say everyone should take this class because you learn so much about what you can contribute to the world. And that I think is really inspiring for me and hopefully for my students as well. And if I was able to talk to all of my students, past, present, future, I would hope that they are able to find something that they're passionate about and follow that. Because I think if you're loving what you do, then you're going to be good at it. Whether they're working in their plumbing shop or cosmetology or going on to become a PhD candidate, they really are excellent students and I think can help us make this world better.
Thank you again for this honor. What inspires me? Well, I draw inspiration from a lot of different places. First off, I'm really blessed to work at Nipmuc Regional High School, which has a phenomenal administration who kind of lets us explore different ways of teaching, not just the traditional ways, and a department that is just phenomenal. I mean, they're so creative and thinking outside the box and very supportive of everybody. So I try to bring all of that into the classroom. And one thing I always tell the kids is, physics books are great, right? It's all nicely, neatly written out, but it doesn't necessarily help you understand the physics, right? So I would say physics books are great for doing physics. So we use them for ramps and all sorts of stuff, right? Falling objects. Sometimes people come in and they see the books flying and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Physics." And the kids really appreciate that aspect of actually discovering it themselves. So what I try to do is bring in and inspire the kids with all different types of situations so that they're actually discovering the physics themselves. So they're not just looking at Isaac Newton as, "Oh, wow, that guy from hundreds of years ago who discovered this, that, and the other thing." You just discovered it, right? You can do this. And so I try every day to inspire my kids to be curious about the world and don't think that anything's beyond you, that you can, if you try hard enough, reach that goal. And so my message to my students all the time is, reach for whatever you want to reach for. Be curious. Don't be afraid to ask questions and get hands-on with it, right? Figure out what actually makes that tick. If it's a physical object or if it's someone else, right? Understanding how and why that object or person or organization works the way it does is fundamental to who we are. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the award. I was not expecting that. And of course, it has nothing to do with me. It's all about my kids. They did it and they deserve all the recognition. Now, in terms of inspiration, my inspiration stems from my understanding of my students' energy. They have so much energy, and as an educator, I see my goal as a guide to help them channel that energy into academic success. For one thing, I am in my mid-50s and I model that energy channeling in the classroom. For the most part, I'm older than most of their parents, but I can keep up with most of them in terms of either on the soccer field, on the track field, or in the classroom when we are doing whatever activity that requires that we channel that life energy into academic success. So if I were to speak to my past students, present students, or future students, some of the things I would remind them of is that energy that they had within them and their academic potential that they have that no one can take away from them. And I would also remind them that the accomplishments that they enjoyed during their experience in my classroom, or they will enjoy in the future of my future student, that experience and those accomplishments could never be taken away. And I want them to be able to keep aspiring to achieving their potentials. And that's it.
Well, thank you again to Mass Insight for this award. Last year was actually my first year teaching AP Biology at my school, so I was very excited for the recognition, and I had so much fun teaching my students last year. In terms of what inspires me, I would say I'm really inspired by the process of science and how science is this amazing tool that we have to solve problems and improve the world. I think this past year, especially, we've really seen how important scientific knowledge is as a way to solve the world's most serious problems. So I would say that in class, I try to help students build the skills that scientists need to do their work. Skills like asking good questions, analyzing data, and drawing conclusions from evidence so that they can learn to use scientific knowledge to solve problems too. And I would also say that I'm really inspired by my students and their potential. I see how hard they work every day, how driven they are, and how curious and eager they are to learn. So it makes me want to give my best effort in teaching them so that they can be successful and reach their goals. And some hopes that I have for my students would be that they advocate for themselves and take advantage of the opportunities that come their way. And I would also just say that I hope that they trust in their own abilities and believe in their potential and don't doubt themselves. And I would also hope that they remember their high school science experience as a positive one. So thank you again.
Thank you, Mass Insight. This is incredibly special to me. And I want to give a shout out to Sue Biggs. She's my mentor, and I can't believe I'm where I am now. Without her, I wouldn't be here. So thank you to that. And my students are just incredible. My inspiration comes from my family and nature. And I hope that my students are my kids, and my kids recognize how much I put into my students, and they are always my family. So when you are my student, you become part of my family. I'm incredibly lucky to teach where I do. I have an incredible support system of my faculty and my principal. They're all just fabulous, and I feel like I have family there. And if you take care of each other, everything will come to fruition with what you want. And I hope all of my students, past, future, and present, recognize once they're mine, they're always mine. I will always take care of them, and I wish them the best. And I hope that they recognize what nature is to them and how we can solve problems. Chemistry can solve problems, and it can create problems. So we have to kind of balance the good and the bad and figure out our plastic problem. And I love that there's such a marriage between environmental science and chemistry right now, trying to fix those problems. And hopefully my students will be able to figure that out someday for us as we get older. So that's all.
Thanks. This is really a celebration of you, and it's a joy to hear you celebrate your students, because that's what this is all about. So congratulations to you all. We've enjoyed hearing from you about you, your commitment, and about your very special students. Now I'll turn it back over to Lusi for some closing remarks.
Congratulations to all of tonight's winners. Thank you again for all you do on behalf of your students. A special thank you too to all of our partners and excellent sponsors, without whom this would not be possible. Make sure you join us again on March 25th for our culminating night, where we will have our keynote interview with Kimberly Ellison-Taylor of Oracle, who will share her inspiring story and message of improbable doesn't mean impossible. We will also present 4 special awards to members of our community who are helping to make a difference for students, teachers, and schools. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.